Hello, hello, hello. Gonna sip my tea here for a little bit. Damn, my tea is kind of cold now. Let me make sure that everything is flowing right. That you guys can see me. Don't be afraid to say hi in the comment section, guys, okay? It's not a scary place, I promise. Okay, yes, I am totally live. Cool. So it's been a while since I've been live. So how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. This is something, if you pay attention to the community tab, I've been posting a lot in there. And so I put a poll out and asked if you guys would prefer a live video or a filmed video on the darker side of 8 energy with this whole presidential election. And thankfully, one of you guys did the poll. So please, you guys, make sure you're looking at that community tab because that's when I get to ask you guys questions and see what your opinions are, what you kind of want to see on the channel. So the person who did vote asked for a live video. So hopefully that person's catching this live. If not, then you'll see it later. I also tried to go live a little bit later than I normally do. So anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm just trying to sip on my tea because I spent the last hour and a half filming for my courses. So my throat was a little dry. Okay, so man, it's been so long since I've been live with you guys. I wanted to talk about the darker side of the 8 energy because I realized as I looked back on the video I did, which if you didn't see, I did a video on how every presidential era, which lasts 4 years, has its own energy based on the actual inauguration date of that president. And so through numerology, you can also use astrology, but I like to use numerology a lot for just quick little transit kind of things. I added up the date of the inauguration date of this year. So it was January 20th, 2021, and that came out to an 8. And then I also compared it to the last inauguration date, which was the last president, and that was a 4 energy. And in that video, I was showcasing the differences between the 2 energies and how we can use what was learned with the 4 energy to build in the 8, because the 8 energy is all about building. It's pretty much ruled by Saturn. So Saturn's energy is all about building and making sure your foundation is stable and getting all the details in check and all of that. And so I was really using that video to compare the 2 because I felt like there was just this kind of like a lot of hate going towards the previous president, and then this whole like savior mentality kind of thing going towards the new incoming president. And I wanted to try to share my little opinion, I guess, on that, and sharing that, hey, there was an energy around the entire presidency of the last president and then the presidency of this new one. And that there's lessons that as a nation we all need to learn with these energies. So that was more of the focus of that video. And so I touched a lot on the positives and how we can use that to really build us up for a lot of achievement and success and wealth and power in this new presidency. But one thing I did not touch on is the more darker pieces, darker sides of the 8 energy. And I did mention about like a lot of new information coming out and how that's going to change how we take action and change how we do things. But I just wanted to go a little bit more in depth on, again, that darker side, because I think we need to be prepared for all outcomes. Because again, this is not just a personal thing. This is a collective thing. This is for the entire nation of the United States of America, and how this country is going to kind of be functioning as far as the energy that surrounds it for the next 4 years. So yes, it will affect us all on our personal individual levels, but it's also going to affect us at our community levels, our state levels, our entire nation as a whole. So one of the major things that actually you see a lot playing out right now in these last couple weeks, and it literally hasn't even been very long since the new president has been in office. What's the date today? Today is the 28th. So it's literally been 8 days, guys, 8 days. And there's already a lot going on. But the major thing I wanted to point out with the dark side of 8 energy is power struggles. And power grabs, because with the 8 energy, as I mentioned in the last video, comes achievement and success and wealth and abundance, but there also comes power and recognition and wanting to essentially kind of reclaim your power, take your power back kind of vibe. So it's playing out very interestingly, I can say. So I wanted to talk more about this side because you're going to see that more and more, both on the side of the people and then on the side of the government. You're going to see like it's like for the next 4 years, you're going to constantly see the powers that be struggling with the people that be for the power. You're going to see a lot of the people, right, rising up and wanting to claim their power, to claim what's theirs, to say, hey, you've been in control long enough, now it's time to give us a voice, kind of thing. And it's very interesting that you're seeing this play out. I mean, it's been major news everywhere, especially if you're somebody who is into stock trading. But with the recent situation with Robinhood and other online trading services like Charles Schwab and Ameritrade or something, where they have literally put a halt on what the people can or cannot purchase as far as stocks, because what happened is you had one major hedge fund. A hedge fund is a company that tends to hold and buy a lot of stock for more wealthy people, so billionaires, millionaires, things like that. And they will go in and buy and sell stocks for those people to help grow their portfolio so that they don't have to worry about it. So news got out that there was a hedge fund that was making a play on, I believe it was GameStop. So the stock for GameStop, they were trying to short it, which basically just means they were hoping it was going to go down. Let's just put it at that. They were hoping that the stock price was going to go down to about like $7 or something. And so they were planning on shorting the stock. Somebody found out about it and they posted it on Reddit, and they told everybody basically like, go and buy a bunch of GameStop stock so that we can drive the price up and cause basically the hedge fund to lose on their bet. And so a bunch of people did, and they drove the stock up to a really high price, which caused that hedge fund to have to claim bankruptcy. This hedge fund was worth about 13 billion, and in that one power play, they lost more than what they were actually worth. And so to combat that, Robinhood and other online trading services made it so that the people can no longer buy GameStop stocks and then some other stocks as well that they were driving up. They made it so that you could not buy it, you could only sell it, to kind of give the hedge fund a chance to try to make some of their money back. And so the issue that's happening with that is that the people are very upset because they're like, okay, hedge funds, if you don't know this, so with stock trading, hedge funds tend to do this a lot, where they will drive a stock price up or down so that they can make a major profit. And it will oftentimes hurt the people, because the people are just your everyday mom and dad retail investors who are investing, their retirement, their 401ks, their savings, different things like that, so they can make a little bit of an extra income for themselves to create some security. And so oftentimes, again, these hedge funds will make plays where they really hurt the common people, because they'll drive a price up, and then as soon as it hits where they want, they sell it all. And so oftentimes the common people jump in too late, and then they end up losing all the money they invest in that stock, because the stock just, it tanks. And so now that the story's been reversed, and now that the people took their power and was like, you know what, no, we're going to do the power play on the hedge funds this time, the hedge funds weren't happy about it. And they were basically like, we're going to use the power we have, and we're going to get this shut down. So this is this power struggle that you're seeing between the current wealth and abundant and powers that be kind of energy, and then the people who are like, we've had enough of this crap, we want our power back. And so there's positives and negatives to this 8 energy with this new presidency, because again, you're having groups of people, whether it's political, whether it's economic, whether it's environmental, it doesn't matter. You're having these groups of people saying, hey, we want to have our power back. We want to take our power back. We want some recognition here. We want some wealth too in abundance. We're going to do to you what you do to us. And then the other side doesn't like it. And it's kind of like this war on who's going to have the power. So you're going to see a lot more of this, to me, in my opinion, in the next coming years. You're seeing it a bit, although people don't really talk about it, with the new president and how, the new president basically goes and undoes what the past president does. But you're also seeing it with the impeachment trial with President Trump. You're seeing how there is a large group of people who feel that it's not fair, and they're calling for petitions to be signed and things to get their voice heard by Congress. Because for a while now, there's been a large group of people, doesn't matter what political party they're affiliated with. I think it's happened on all sides of political parties. But there's been a rising up of people who don't feel like they're being heard by the powers that be, or those in Congress, those in the Senate. Because oftentimes those in the Congress, in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, they are having their strings pulled by lobbyists and by other major companies that are filling their pockets in order for them to get what they want. So again, you're going to see this play out more. Like, we've been seeing it, you know what I'm saying? You've been seeing it with the riots and the protesting, but that to me was like the tip of the iceberg. It goes a lot deeper than that. And that's why I really wanted to showcase how the last 4 years with President Trump was really an awakening moment. It was like an apocalypse of sorts. And so there's been a lot of spiritual people actually that have said, you know, the Mayan calendar that was 2012 was really supposed to be 2020, and that because of the way we do our calendar system, we were off, and so we thought it was supposed to be 2012, and 2020 was really the apocalypse year. I think one thing we have to realize is that the term apocalypse is, when defined, literally just means like an awakening. You have an apocalypse anytime you realize something new and it changes the way you do things. So 2020 was definitely an apocalyptic type year, because there was a lot of things that were realized. I mean, over, I would say, Trump's entire presidency, there was a lot of darkness that was revealed and brought to the light, and that was that 4 energy. It was that realization that this is not working, right? So that was the start. But 8 energy is like the sister brother pair, you know, they're like the couple pair. 4 and 8 go hand in hand. So you have Uranus with the 4 energy, like, we're gonna create all this ruckus, and then Saturn's like, yeah, and I'm gonna come, you know, we're going to come dig even deeper, because Saturn doesn't play any games. Like, if you guys don't know, Saturn is like one of my favorite planets when it comes to energy, because Saturn doesn't play any games. Saturn's just like, you know what? This isn't working. Like, you thought Uranus did some stuff by knocking some things around and creating a little bit of a tornado, but I'm just going to come rip the rug right from under you, and we're going to rebuild from scratch. So again, the more darker side of this energy is going to be a lot of power struggles, a lot of power grabs. There's going to be times where you, as the people, because a lot of us are the people, right, feel as though you have no say with when it comes to things with the government, kind of like they're just trying to place what they think is right on top of you, and they're not asking you for your opinion or what you think about it. They're just like, this is how we're going to do things. And we saw that a lot. This is why I say President Trump's presidency was the tip of the iceberg, because you saw that a lot with the lockdowns and things like that, where certain things were allowed to go on that benefited certain people, while other things were completely shut down. So let's just say small business owners took a huge hit, but the big companies got all the excess money, all the loans, you know, they were able to still function for the most part. But a lot of these small mom and pop shops were shut down. They were fined for being open, arrested for being open. Even when there were protests going on and their buildings were getting destroyed, you know, nobody was there to help the little guy. So it's, again, you're seeing this power struggle, power grab, power play between the little guy and then the big guy. Ultimately, I feel that it's up in the air. I don't want to try to dictate what I think is going to happen once we get to the end of this 4 years. But in my gut, I really feel like you're going to see a lot more of a leveling out but you're also going to see the gap widen, if that makes sense. So it brings me back to what I did say in that video, where I did say you're going to see a large amount of wealth transfer, but you're also going to see the gap between the poor and the rich get bigger. So it's going to be kind of like a positive, negative, a bittersweet kind of feel. And that's why I really wanted to put these videos out to you guys, because I'm like, if I can get this message out, people can begin to realize, like, okay, it's what I make of it. At the end of the day, how am I working with this eight energy now that it's here? Am I going to take advantage of it? Am I going to set my goals? Am I going to create my visions? And am I actually going to um, move forward with those things and create more abundance and wealth in my life? Or am I going to continue to do what I've been doing all this time and not taking advantage? Am I going to keep playing the victim, or am I going to play the victor? And the more that you decide that you're going to lean into that energy of being the victor, you're going to be one of those people that comes out on top at the end of these 4 years with more wealth and more abundance and more power than what you had before. If you're somebody that just plays into whatever the energy is and just goes with the flow, kind of thing, is definitely is going to be up in the air. So when it comes to wealth and power, there's a lot of it to go around right now. And it's kind of up to you to take it by the reins and to grab hold of it and to say, you know what, I'm taking my power back and I'm taking what's mine and I'm allowing it. And it's not even always just about taking it. There's a masculine, feminine to everything. So it's not just about taking, it's also about opening up to receive. Because there's a lot of us that are out there that are just blocked. We blocked ourselves. And so we're not even open to receive in the first place. So it's not always just about taking. So again, it's going to be for some of us, it will be about taking what's yours. And then for some of us, it's going to be about opening up to receive what's been waiting for you. But either way, how I see it playing out in the next 4 years is there's just going to be a huge gap, for one. So you're going to have the people at the bottom and the people at the top. I don't feel like there's going to be a middle class at all. There's barely one now, to be honest. But I feel like by the end of this 4 years, it's going to be really tough. You're going to have the people who get into the top, and then you're going to have the people who got pushed from the middle down to the bottom, and the people who were at the bottom, that didn't make it to the top will still remain at the bottom and maybe even be driven further deeper. And unfortunately, when you're somebody who ends up at the bottom, you're going to end up in the power plays of the people at the top. So it's kind of deciding, where do you want to be? Do you want to be the one, being told what to do at the bottom, or do you want to have the abundance that you need in order to be free to do what you want and to not be so worried about it? It's something my husband and I talk about a lot, because if you notice, the wealthy people don't the truly wealthy. I'm not talking like celebrities and stuff who like get paid to endorse certain people and to say certain things. Because in my eye, a lot of these celebrities are just robots with their strings and buttons being pushed to say and do what they're meant to do and say. But for the truly wealthy people, they live a whole different kind of lifestyle. They're not worried about what the government is going to do. Because at the end of the day, they have the money to be able to, one, leave when they want to, but they also know how to structure their lives and structure their businesses in ways where the government can't really intervene. And this brings me even to topics I've talked about in the past about trust systems and things like that, and how when you learn the truth about money and how money works and how government works and why the government was created and all of these different things, when you begin to study these things, it gives you leverage, because then you know how to set yourself up and your family up so that you can be successful, without having the government being able to just come and take what they want from you. Because one thing that I think is very important to realize is that the United States was founded by people who did not like government. Essentially, they did not want big government. They wanted, if anything, a very small government to take care of the people who did not set themselves up in a way where they did not need to be taken care of, and to protect the people, like military kind of stuff. But the people who founded, this place, they're often termed criminals and things like that, because essentially, they wanted to keep what was theirs, right? They did not want the government like how it is now, taking and taking and taking and taking and never really truly giving anything back. And so that's what their vision was. But unfortunately, humans, we've taken their vision, and I truly believe we've kind of muddied the waters quite a bit. Hopefully, eventually, America will get back to what it was originally supposed to be. But right now, it's just kind of like a hot mess. But I do feel that the more of us that become aware again of the original vision of America and want to get back to that, um, which is really about having sovereignty, 8 energy. So having sovereignty, having power in your own life, having freedom to be able to do what you want. That's really what America. It makes me want to look up um, the energy of when the Declaration. I think it was the Declaration of Independence was signed. Let me just look up that date. If I can spell it right. So, I mean, in the meantime, don't be afraid because I see you guys are watching. I can see how many people are watching. And y'all don't want to leave no comments. I can feel that. It hurts. Okay, so let's see. July 4th, 1776. Interesting. 5 energy. That's a lot of change. That's ruled by Mercury, which is communication. Well, that would make sense. So I need to know the date. I would need to know the actual date that they came up with the idea. But, anyways, July 4th, 1776 is when that Declaration of Independence was written. I should look up the date too of like when the Constitution and stuff was written. But what I really want to know is the date where the idea was conceived to create America. I have to do some digging on that. But yeah, Declaration of Independence was a 5 energy, which deals with Mercury energy, which is why Declaration of Independence is like, this is the day we're communicating to you, Britain, UK, whatever it was at the time. We don't want to be part of your kingdom anymore. But anyways, so yeah, the 8 energy can go many different ways. It can get pretty dark. So I wanted to warn you guys ahead of time. There is a dark side to 8 energy for sure, because the people at the top are not going to like being challenged for their power, for one. And then again, you have the other flip side of the people who don't make it to the top through this next 4 years, who end up stuck at the bottom. And it's for various reasons. It's not always because they don't want to, they just may not know how to. And again, the people at the top take advantage of what you do not know. So that's why I always push on this channel to question everything and to do your research and to study, because how do you think the people at the top got there? Okay, it's through knowledge. Knowledge is power at the end of the day. And that brings me to another thought that I didn't even think of. There's going to be a lot of knowledge that is learned, because knowledge essentially is power, and applied knowledge is even more power. You do become powerful when you have knowledge, because you know then what to do and what not to do. But when you apply that knowledge, it becomes even more powerful, because now you've taken that knowledge and you've used it for your own benefit. And so it's very important. Get up on your knowledge this year. Get up on your knowledge. Start studying things like how money works, how banks were created, how the government was created, what the original vision of this country was. And don't get caught up in this race game, guys. That's the other thing I want to mention. Don't get caught up in the race game, because the race game is a distraction for you. Just know that is a distraction that has been put in place in order to create angst and anger and rage, to basically benefit one side over the other, especially when it comes to politics. So don't allow yourself to get distracted by all of the shiny objects and all of the things that you can debate and argue about. I'm going to tell you right now, the super wealthy people don't sit there and debate and argue about those little things. They don't sit there and argue about if racism exists, if America is systemically racist, if there's economic racism. Like, that's not things that are argued when you're wealthy. You talk about systems, you talk about how you can leverage those systems, you talk about knowledge, you talk about how you can leverage that knowledge to create more power for yourself. That is the vibe. Okay, so that's another thing. You got to get out of that. I'm going to be stuck in the gossip and I'm going to be stuck in the latest news. Like, get away from the media, get away from the news cycles, because they're doing it to control you. You know, they literally thrive off of your energy. Every time they put something out in the news and you get enraged about it, they're using your energy and they're using your dollars and they're using your actions and your behavior for their benefit. So you have to learn how to play the game. And I think that's really what I was trying to get at with the 8 energy video I did initially on the presidential energy is you have to learn how to play the game. You learn how to play the game, the next 4 years will be, you know, pretty nice for you because you're going to know what's going on. You're going to know when president does this or when Congress does this or when such and such in the stock market does this. You're going to be able to step back and not be shaken by it, because you know what your vision is, you know what your plan is, you know the information you need to get there. You're not worried about all of this distraction. So that would be my number one thing for you is spend some time. I mean, we're still in quarantine essentially, right? Like, things are open, right? They're opening now because the savior has moved into being the president. But take this time to learn as much as you can about, again, how much, and I'm thinking money and how systems and stuff work, because again, we're talking 8 energy, we're talking Saturn. Saturn definitely rules security, which is money, stability, which is also money. You know, Saturn rules a lot of things. That's all I'm going to say with that. Saturn rules a lot. Saturn rules the 10th house, which is about legacy. You know, it's, people think 10th house is just your career, but it's not. It's about how people see you. It's the legacy that you're leaving behind. It relates to the father, you know, that very masculine energy, that building energy. How are you going to build that legacy? Your 6th house is more your career. Okay. Let's just put it that way. That's your vocation. Okay. We leave that in the 6th house. Okay. With Virgo energy, we get all the details and all that fun stuff. But when it comes to Capricorn and Saturn energy, it is like, okay, this is for the future. This is like, how are we building generational health, wealth, growth, and abundance, and all of these things. And so those are things that I want you guys to really be thinking about. How can you expand what it is that you have? How can you expand your network? How can you expand your net worth? How can you expand your businesses? How can you gain your power back? How can you create more freedom and power for yourself? What does that look like for you? How can you do it? You know, start asking those questions and looking at those answers. And like I said, start looking into how things were founded. Don't go off of what you learned in school, because you did not learn the full history of this country. Don't go off of all the woke people that you see on Instagram talking about how this country was founded on racism, because that's also not the case. Okay. Don't get caught up in all of the one-sided stories. You have to start looking at all sides of the story. You know, don't look at just Columbus Day as, oh, he was the one who came and ruined everything. No, he didn't. You guys have to learn the true story of Christopher Columbus too, because he was played. Okay. Again, played by powers that be. So you guys have to study your history, because that's how history essentially is not repeated. When you know the truth, you can stop the generational curses. Okay. And the only way you know the truth is by looking at the true history. So again, you have to look at all sides of the story, even when it comes to political parties. I'm personally independent. I'm not one or the other. I'm not Republican. I'm also not Democratic, and I'm not libertarian either. I'm an independent thinker. Okay. So you look at both parties, look at all the BS they're spitting out, look at how one's trying to play the other, how they're both trying to play the people. You can look at how they're actually both sides of the same coin, both sides of the same eagle. You know, they're two wings to the same bird moving forward. You guys have to begin to realize the truth of all these things. But use your discernment. Don't get caught up in conspiracy theories. Don't get caught up in QAnon BS. Don't get caught up in everything that you see on woke Twitter or woke Instagram or woke YouTube. Get all sides. There's three sides to a story. There's this side, and then there's the truth in the middle. Okay, so you guys have to get all sides. Um, Otherwise, you're going to be taken up in the wave. That's literally it. Like you're going to be taken up in the wave of emotions, in the wave of news cycles, in the wave of the media, in the wave of they did this, she did that, he did this, they said that. You're going to get caught up in this, and you're going to start trying to make sense of all of these different things. And it's like you have to kind of step out of it and be able to see it. It's kind of like when you're in the eye of a hurricane or an eye of a tornado. That's the space of peace while everything around it is tumultuous and chaotic. You want to get into that space of being centered. And that's something I've talked a lot about on this channel. Being centered. You want to be in the middle. You want to be able to see everything that's going on around you and not be shaken about it. It doesn't mean you don't feel emotions, okay? You feel emotions, you let them go because you understand that sometimes those emotions are yours. Depends on your energy. For me, a lot of times those emotions are not mine. They're emotions that I'm feeling. You gotta, these are things I'm gonna be teaching on as time goes on. There's a lot that I have coming at you guys, but it's just important to become that wise sage that I've always talked about on this channel that is centered. Okay. Peace is boring, I know. Having peace and balance and harmony in your life, we tend to subconsciously crave the ups and downs of everything. And having peace can be very boring because things are kind of stable. Even when things are going up and down around you, you're able to bring yourself back to that space of being stable and centered. But it's important. And it's going to be important because I feel, again, that the last 4 years was just the tip of the iceberg. The next 4 years, it's going to be a huge power grab. It's going to be a huge power struggle between the people here and the people up here. And it's going to become the sense of some of the people here are going to move up here. Some of the people here are going to move down here too. Don't get it twisted. There's going to be some at the top who come crashing down. But the thing about the people at the top is they know how to get back to the top quick. So they're not worried about it. But for all of us common people who are in the middle here or at the bottom here, it's your chance now to take advantage and get to that top. Because I'm telling you, by the end of the 4 years, things are not going to come and be balanced. It's not going to be all like, oh, we're going to build back better and make things equal for everybody. Trust me, it's not going to work out that way. Okay? It's going to create this huge gap where there's no more in the middle. The people in the middle, politics doesn't care about. They only care about either the top or the bottom. That's why it's always, let's tax the rich and give to the poor. There's nothing about the middle class. Everything is always taken from the middle class. So if you're in the middle class, you need to be thinking about how you can get up one more tier. And if you're in the lower class, you need to be thinking about how you can get up to the top tier. Otherwise, it's going to be bottom and top. That's it. There's no way in the next 4 years energetically, especially with the people who are in power now and what I'm seeing from the people in power now, there is no way in the next 4 years that equality is going to be, or equity, whatever, is going to be created and everybody's going to be on the same playing field. That's essentially, no offense, socialism and communism. Because in reality, there's hierarchies to life. Even in the spiritual realms, there's hierarchies. There's levels to this stuff, you have to move through the levels. There's no way that everybody's just going to have an equal amount of everything. Okay, so let's just get that out the gate too. So yeah, I think, for the most part, that's really what I felt was on my heart the most, that you guys just needed like a wake up call. A lot of you guys who follow me though are kind of like aware of this stuff, because I do read a lot of the comments that you leave when I make these types of videos, and a lot of you guys are kind of like onto that already and doing your own studying. So for those of you who are already doing that, keep going. But for those of you who maybe are just realizing what's going on, y'all need to get on it and do your work, do your research, and learn these things, because yeah, it's very important. Knowledge is power, okay, and applied knowledge is even more power. It's like tripling and doubling your power. But when you do know stuff, it's a lot of power in general. So yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead and shamelessly plug myself before I end because I've given you guys value. So now I want to share a little bit about me and what I've got going on. So if you haven't learned already, I've got multiple courses out. I did it. But one of the courses, the one I want to talk about most right now, is called Book of Life. I actually have my book here because I was filming for that course prior to going live with you guys. And the Book of Life course, the reason I'm mentioning it now is because it ties into what I've been talking about, which is learning to play the game and playing it and creating your vision. So this book, okay, you create your own book in the course. It's a system that you have for life, and right now it is $47. You pay one time. That's it. It's lifetime access. There is no monthly fee or anything for it. And so the goal of this is to mesh masculine and feminine because you need both sides in order to create something new. So just like when you make a baby, you need the sperm and you need the egg. You need the masculine and you need the feminine. So within yourself, you have masculine and feminine energy. And so you have to learn how to use both sides of yourself in order to fully create your vision. So a lot of times what happens is people get very stuck in the masculine and they get stuck in the planning phase. They plan everything out. They plan every detail, but they don't what do you call it, bring in the feminine side. So the masculine to me is, yes, it's the taking action, it's the going out and taking what's yours, it's the planning every single detail. But you have the feminine side, which is about that self-reflection. It's the power for one. Feminine energy is powerful AF. I mean, you think about, just the child being created in the womb of the female. It takes a lot of power to do that. To birth a child takes a lot of power. So don't knock the feminine energy. There's a lot of power there for sure to build. The masculine cannot do it all on its own. It does need its partner in order to do so. But with the feminine energy specifically, what we focus on in the course is being able to reflect and observe. So self reflection and self observation and a lot of journaling comes into this course. So, how that's laid out is you have a 6-step journaling process that you go through, which helps to bring a lot of clarity to what vision it is that you want in life. So what is it that you actually want to create? And the reason why the journal process is 6 steps is because it deals with some of the traps that your ego may set for you. Your ego's not bad, by the way. Your ego is, let me fix this hair. Your ego just wants to protect you, and you actually need your ego to function on this earth. So for all the people who say to defeat the ego and get rid of it, that's a straight up lie from the pits of hell. Because when you get rid of the ego, you literally become a robot. And that's not the point for you. You have a unique mission on this earth, and you need your ego to help you to fulfill that, because your ego is going to give you the desire and the drive to go after what you want, because it's where you get your desires from in the first place. It's that I want to be recognized for this. I want to be seen for this. I want to succeed. I want to achieve this. I want to have that. That's ego. And so you need it. But your flip side of your ego is also the part of you that's going to keep you from growing and keep you from expanding, because while it may want those things, it's going to be afraid to get out of the comfort zone because it's so used to what it's always doing. So this journaling exercise, it's 6 steps. It takes you through, word vomiting what you want, basically, and figuring out the plan that's necessary for you to achieve what you want. But I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going to give y'all all the steps, because the point is for you guys to enroll in the course so that you can have the system for yourself. But that's one major part of the course. And then the next major part is actually planning out your vision. So you take it from this big idea to small actionable steps that you can take in order to reach it. And then the third part of it is the actual action part. And that's where you have your actual calendar system that you create, where it breaks it down to quarterly, monthly, yearly, quarterly, monthly, and then weekly things that you need to do in order to reach those goals for every month and quarter and year. And then there's things like habit trackers and such in there that, again, are breaking things down to the daily basis. And so with this system, you literally have no excuses. Now you have the plan, you need to act on it. And so there's a reward system in place so that you can actually act on things and reward yourself and receive positive feedback. Because when you do so, The actions you take then become habits, which then become part of your lifestyle, and then you begin to live a successful lifestyle based on whatever vision it is that you're trying to create. So again, I just wanted to shamelessly plug the Book of Life course because you walk away with this beautiful binder that you end up building yourself with all of the pages inside. The other thing I wanted to mention, the reason why it's not something that you can just buy online that's already built for you is because everybody has a different amount of visions for their lives. Some people have one major vision, some people have 5, some people have 10. You know, you could be like me, I'm multi-passionate, so I have multiple visions. I was here to do multiple things. So this is built especially for the people who have multiple visions and ideas that they want to achieve. But it's even for the people who maybe have one big goal and maybe that goal is just broken down into a whole bunch of smaller ones. But it gives you the freedom to be able to build the system to work for you. So oftentimes with planners, it's like you get a set amount of pages for this, and then a set amount for this, and a set amount for this. When I say this is a lifestyle binder, it is. So I'll give you an example. So you have your dedication page, but then you have within your binder, you have your big ideas, your plans, your projects, your goals, and then you break it down to your calendar system. And what happens is your calendar system gets changed out every year. So again, this is a binder you're using for your life. Your big ideas and things, your big ideas are things that are going to take you years to complete. And they get broken down into goals that can take months or up to 1 year. And you clear out at the end of the year. You clear out your yearly calendar and you start over again. But the first half of your binder, where your big ideas and your plans and your projects and your goals are, those stay there until they're completed. And then once they're completed, there's a section in the binder that they get moved to so that you can then go back and reflect and say, okay, look at how much I've done. I can definitely continue forward. So again, this is a lifestyle binder. It is a binder you can use for life. It's a system you can use for life. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly shout that out. The link for it is down below. So definitely get yourself enrolled because like I said, the next 4 years is about you taking advantage of what's there. So again, if you're at the bottom, anything that the government comes out with that's meant to help those at the bottom, you better take advantage of that and use it to expand what you have and to create your legacy. Like use it because there's a reason why all of this is happening. Okay, it's to help you to take the steps necessary to grow. So, and if you're at the top, then you're probably not watching this video anyway, because the message isn't for you. But yeah, for those of us in the middle and at the bottom, it's time for us to take our power back. It's going to look ugly for sure. There's going to be a lot of power struggles for sure between the people and the powers that be. Don't let that distract you. Stay centered. Stay in your space of, I'm going to continue to get this knowledge and then apply this knowledge so that it becomes applied power for me and use it to expand your network, create your legacy for you and your future children and your children's children and their children to create generational health, wealth, and spiritual wealth too, not just physical. I'm talking emotional, mental, physical, everything, spiritual, everything. Like this is about securing stability for your family and for those who come after you and breaking those generational curses. But again, that's only going to come from knowledge and then applying that knowledge. So yeah, and creating the plan. So that's where this comes in. Create the plan. Create the plan with this. Act on it. Use this to create the life you want. Use my Book of You course. I don't have that binder in here because I wasn't filming for that today. But use the Book of You course that I have down below to learn about yourself. That's where some knowledge comes in. You learn about yourself, and then you learn what it is you're here to do. You take this journaling process in here. You get clear on the steps, and then you apply those steps to your big ideas and breaking them down to little teeny tiny actionable steps. And then you take the action and you reward yourself and you create this whole system of, okay, this is who I am. This is who I'm meant to be. Let me create that vision. Got it? So both of those courses are linked down below. That's all I have for you guys. I hope that this video was helpful for you. Definitely a lot of aha moments for me. And yeah, take advantage of this energy, guys. Like that's the reason I'm putting these videos out. Wake you guys up. So with that, I will see you next week. in my next videos. Bye.